What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode. For those of you who may be new to the channel, my name is Shane and I am one of the co-founders of First Due Overland. We are a overland off-roading camping group based out of the Pacific Northwest, more specifically Washington State, but we venture all throughout the region to include Washington, Oregon, Idaho, Montana, and beyond. And this episode is actually the part one, or I guess first episode of our Great Northwest Expedition that we are gearing up for in July of 2025. So I'm doing this as part of part one for that series, but also we get a lot of questions about how we find some of the epic camp spots that we have featured in our episodes. And so while we're always hesitant to give out coordinates because we don't want these camp spots to be trashed, I figured the next best thing is I will kind of show you how I find some of these camp spots while I work on planning our Montana trip. So with that, we will dive into the video and go from there. Alright, so first things first, this is just a general overview of our route so far. I have a decent majority of it already kind of mapped out from previous trips that we've done out east. They're from fishing trips with one of our fishing guides, as well as from our trip out to the Overland Ranch last year in July. So I am building it out a little bit more, as we'll have a couple extra days on the front end and the back end to see some things, do some things, and just do a little bit more exploring in the Idaho and Montana area. So general route overview is pretty much already complete. I'll actually be tweaking it slightly over the next couple of days because our departure time for day one actually moved up, so we'll be able to leave earlier in that, in the day, and get some more miles and get some more exploring in before making camp on night one. So today, that's what I'm going to be doing, is potentially looking for some other camp spots for night one and night two, but we will dive into that. So the first thing we're going to I want to differentiate when looking for camp spots is you want to make sure that where you are looking to camp, you can legally do so. And so the biggest thing is make sure that it's not on private land. You don't want to, the last thing you want to have is someone knocking on your window or knocking on your door while you're sleeping saying, hey, this is private property, you're trespassing, you need to leave. So the two big ones, I guess the two main land types where you can generally dispersed or wild camp. You may hear me go between those two terms throughout the video: dispersed camping, wild camping, same thing. Dispersed wild camping is basically there are no amenities. There's no picnic tables, there's no established fire pits, there's no bathrooms, there's no running water, no showers, nothing like that. It is you, and you are one with nature in all aspects of camping. So some areas may have pit toilets depending on where you're at. Some national forest land and some BLM or Bureau of Land Management, some of those areas have pit toilets and whatnot, but it's few and far between. So just as an example, I'm going to scroll in here on onX. So as we kind of scroll in, you're going to see three main different shades of colors. So down here, your national parks, they are this more kind of lime greenish color, and that is national parks. You generally cannot disperse camp in national parks. It is established campgrounds only. You usually have to have a reservation, and it costs money. This darker shaded green down, all basically along central Washington, these are national forests. So most national forests you can disperse camp in. There are some that you cannot. So before you head out to an area, if you're not sure if you can disperse camp, check their website, do a quick Google search. Can I overnight disperse camp in Wenatchee National Forest? Can I can I disperse overnight camp in the Wenatchee National Forest or in the Gifford-Pinchot National Forest? Most areas you can. However, it's just good to get that that extra level of clarification on dispersed camping requirements. The other land type that you will find mostly in basically east of the Cascade Mountains is BLM land, or Bureau of Land Management. Basically, it's just another government managed land area, and that is, you can see here, it's the shaded yellow area. So BLM land. And these areas, so National Forest, it's green, lush, you're in, as the name says, you're in the forest. BLM land, you primarily will find more wide open, desert, arid type camping. Still beautiful, still honestly amazing views, because there's nothing to take away from it. There's nothing to block your view. I will say BLM land, because it's open, and if it's kind of on the eastern plains of the state, definitely wind is a lot more of a factor, as the wind on the east side of the state, whether it's Washington or Oregon, can get a little bit more a little stronger. But we'll get into that and how you can kind of plan for that a little bit later in the video. So those are the three main types. Both, or I guess the two main types, National Forest and BLM. Both of those, they have a 14-day limit to camping in the same spot. So keep that in mind too if you're planning a longer trip, or if you are a remote worker who is looking to camp your way across a region. No matter how much you like it, 14 days is the max before you have to move on down the trail, down the road to a different area. Something to keep in mind on that. So with that, we will kind of jump into how the websites that I use. There are 4 main ones that I utilize, some more than others, but we'll jump into it. So the first one being iOverlander.com. So this is, if you're not familiar with it, iOverlander it says it has an app. I haven't had much luck with the app in recent months after they did the last update. It generally tends to crash or whatnot, but when planning trips, I primarily use my desktop. So it's a great resource. So for iOverlander, you just come up here to the Explorer option, browse the map, and it will... iOverlander is an international website. You can find camp spots all over the globe, which is kind of cool, because there are days when I'm bored, or I just need a mental break, and I'll come down here into Africa or Australia, and I'll look and see what they've got. And there's some pretty cool spots. We're not going to be international traveling anytime soon, but one day, this will be a great tool to utilize. But for locally, we'll zoom in, since we're going to Washington, Oregon, and Idaho, Washington, Idaho, and Montana. It's super cool, super information overload at first. Ton of spots. It groups it all together, but you can go and you can filter results by what you're looking for. So, wrong one. Give me a second here. Deselect all. Usually, what I look for, the main ones I'll look for wild camping. I will look for potable water, depending on how long the trip is. We always try to be conscientious about the weight that we take, just for fuel economy and just packing purposes. For this one, I'll do tourist attractions as well, because if there are some cool stops along the way. Again, some tourist attractions. This one I'm going to put showers in as well, just because it's going to be in July. We're going to an event where we at least want to be somewhat presentable, so, and it's supposed to be, I mean, when we were out there last year, it was triple digits the entire trip out and back, so it'd be nice to freshen up a little bit occasionally. And yeah, so those are going to be the main 4 that I'm looking for. So those are the 4. We're coming from over here in the Western Washington area, and we're basically going to head east straight along the 90 corridor. So I will start looking for spots along that area. So as you can see, it groups them in, and then as you zoom in, it'll get more specific on things. So let's see what we got here. I already looked at that one. Realistically, night 1 we'll probably end up somewhere either out in Wallace or between Wallace, Idaho area. I think that's probably a good stop between Wallace, Idaho and St. Regis, more than likely. So we'll look here. What do we got? Almost found accessible eastbound 990 only. Let's see. That's a tourist track. Tourist stop. We'll see if it's good as we go. Look out past Old Road. Look out past St. Regis River. We'll click on a couple of these car campers. Let's see what we got out here. Crossroads, Loop Creek, North Fork. Oh, look at this one. So open in a couple options in different tabs, and then we'll go and we'll click over. So first one, this is this is a camp spot. What did a car camping spot with established fire rings? And that's what's super nice about iOverlander is you can generally, depending on the post, this is all user generated. So you generally know that these are camp spots that have been camped at before. The one thing I will preface with this is before you pen it, say, yes, I am going to camp here, throw the coordinates over into onX, make sure that it is a legal camp spot, because not all of these spots that are pinned are legal. Some people in here are pretty good about, if a spot isn't legal to camp at, they're pretty good about reporting it, and iOverlander will make a note or they will take it down. But you always just want to verify. Another super cool thing about this is some of these, as you can see as it's cycling through below, some of these listings will have photos to give you an idea of what to expect in the area. So this spot, and they'll have reviews. So like the spot here, and yes, on the website, it's super, super grainy. But when you go and you save them like into onX, down to the thumbnail, as you can see, they actually get decently clear. So when you're viewing it on like your mobile phone while you're going, you have an idea what it looks like. But yeah, and then you have trail, reviews here on the right hand side. So completely empty, a little bumpy. Any competent driver can make it to the site. Highway noise is muffled. Perfect for an overnighter, no signal. Without a booster, and too many trees for Starlink. So this spot, honestly, we would probably overlook this spot. One, even though yes, it is close to 90, and road noise isn't an issue. Trees, cell service, we generally, especially on a trip like this with family back home, and potential work commitments that we may have to attend to. If we don't have cell service and if there's not enough signal for Starlink, we may not choose this one. It's not a deal breaker necessarily, but there are plenty more options out there. So this one I'm just going to go ahead and nix. Up next, the other one we had opened up is up here, the North Fork along the St. Regis River, which, love the St. Regis. It is probably one of the most scenic rivers I have camped on, fished on, explored. It goes through some beautiful areas. This one looks promising. It's right on the river. Loop entrance, shaded camp spot, own access to the creek. I'm pretty sure you mean river, but okay. Bike riding distance along vault toilet. Yeah, so this one has a bike riding distance or a long walk to a vault toilet. 2 miles from a trailhead. Ride back trail, start to ride uphill or downhill back to camp. 4-wheel drive. Now, granted, this has been a couple years since someone's been out here, so you can take some of these reports may be a little outdated. 4-wheel drive necessary, 8 miles dirt road, jagged rocks. That is one thing you want to take into consideration as well, is iOverlander. It has a very wide audience, wide user base, wide audience, wide user base. You'll have anyone from car campers to people with their motorhomes, RVs, trailers out here. So some people are really great about giving a detailed trail report, like, hey, this was 8 miles of narrow dirt road, attempted it in our 23-foot Class CRV. Okay, so if your Class CRV, can't make it, but right here, we did see a 4-wheel drive truck go through just fine. So take that into consideration as well when you're reading some of these trail reports. But again, this spot actually looks kind of cool. Yep, see, you had a camper van, and that's it. So just those two. But again, clearer photos down here. This may not be a bad spot. So you know what? I think I already actually have the spot pinned actually, but we'll plug it in just so I can show you my process. So we'll copy and paste these coordinates. We'll come up here into onX. We're gonna do search bar, Control V, and go. And so yeah, see, I already have this spot pinned, but we'll pull the pin up here, and so I have a review of the river. I have one of the descriptions, and then something I always do with these newer pins is I will do the disclaimer of imported from iOverlander. I'll do the description. I'll add a photo to upload the photo to it, and then I'll throw it in the respective trip folder that it's going into. So it's funny because I actually pinned this last summer before our trip out for the grand opening event. We didn't have a chance to make it out there, so maybe this year we'll have a chance. I've built this year's route around it, so we should, even if it's just a drive-by to check it out. But that is something too. And then once I verify the legitimacy of this route in person. Oh, hold on, let's make sure that it's legit to camp at. Which, if you click, by the local area, it is. It's in the St. Joe National Forest. So perfect. This is campable land. So once I do verify that this is basically the state of this campsite, is it, how many rigs can it fit? And a lot of times what I will do once I'm out there in person is I'll update this description a little bit. I may keep some of this, but I'll take out the description about the Class C motorhome. That doesn't pertain to us. But I'll go, okay, what is the trail conditions getting up to it? How many rigs can we possibly fit in this camp spot? What's the cell signal like? What's the Starlink signal like? And all that, because as people will reach out to us from time to time, asking, hey, you know what, I'm in a pinch, I'm out in this area, I need a spot. I will, okay, hey, what type of vehicle are you in? What, if this is a spot that will work for people, I have no problem giving something like this out. Especially something because it is on iOverlander. I've had people reach out to me several times now where, hey, a couple weeks ago, I had a buddy of mine reach out, and he was like, hey, I thought this campground that we were going to camp out, or this trail that we were going to go up, I thought this would be open. All the campgrounds in the area are closed. Most of the trails out here are closed, or gated off, for the season. I'm in a pinch. And so I literally scrambled over to onX, pulled up, and like, hey, send me your satellite pin from where you're at right now, and I will get on and look. And I found them several great options for that night. So that is something too. Yeah, if you're in a pinch and you're stuck someplace and you don't know where to camp, or it's all your options fell through, reach out to us on Instagram if we have camp spots in the area, or even if we don't. If you don't have enough cell service to look up something, shoot us a message. If I have cell service, if I'm not on a trip and have cell service, or if I'm putzing around or whatever, I don't mind pulling up the resources that I have, and some of the resources that I will share here with you guys today to help you guys hopefully make your trip a little bit better. But yeah, so again, the spot pinned, super cool spot. Hopefully we'll be able to check this one out this year. So back to iOverlander. That one's pinned already. And so, okay, so what was this? Oh, nope. Oh, shoot. I think I closed the wrong one. Gosh darn it. Let's see, what was this one? All right, here, found. Okay, so this was another tourist. This was the tourist one. Stop to fill up. So turned off broken, found nerves, found stuff, great water, fill up bottle for tanks. Okay, so this really is more of a... This really isn't a tourist stop. This is a water fill-up area. So, no, not necessarily worried about that. That's fine. Okay. Let's see if there's anything else here along. Okay, St. Regis. That's just something too. Is if you're ever driving eastbound or westbound 90 and you through Montana and you go through St. Regis, Montana, it is definitely worth the stop. They have some great little restaurants in there. They have the travel stop at the at the Two River station is super cool. Super cool. Cool little trinkets, cool t-shirts. They have a whole bunch of local what do you call it? Snacks, honey, all sorts of things. This is an area that I love, and it's great because you're supporting small business in, I guess, the heart of Montana, even though it's not quite the heart of Montana, but super cool area nonetheless, in a beautiful little town. Oh no, this isn't the travel stop, but same thing. This is propane refill, dump station if you need a dump. If you have a trailer and you need to dump your tanks, but yeah, super cool. But yeah, great resource again. So next up on the list is, okay, so we have our camp spots, we have our camp spots pinned. We have our route planned out. The next website I will utilize occasionally is Google Maps, and whether it is getting ETAs from where we're departing from. So, hey, it's going to be, for example, I already know that, I think, was it this one? Yes, this route right here. I already pinned this. So I'll click on this. I think I did. Yep. So I use Google Maps for this portion right here. So it was going to be a 5.5 hour drive from, so one of our meetup spots for this trip, where we have people that are meeting up with us from all over the state, on the west side is the North Bend Safeway. So if we were to stick to this route on day one, I utilize Google Maps to estimate that, hey, this will be probably a 5.5 hour to 6 hour drive from North Bend Safeway to camp. So we should be to camp somewhere around 7:30 Mountain Time, 6:30 Pacific Time. It's a great tool for that. If you are conscientious, or if you have to be conscientious about how much driving you're doing in a day. If you have young kids, or if you're trying to, hey, we want to be to camp before sunset. So you just become a little bit more conscientious about that. It gives you a better idea on that. But then also another tool that I utilize it for, and I will show you guys here. So we're just going to say, because this is off a main road, we're going to see if Google Maps has a street view for this. But let me see here. I'm just going to click this, and then I'm going to go boom, Command A, Command B. And the only reason why I'm doing that is because Google auto-populates my home address and my work address when I click the search bar. So I don't need that getting out there. So with that, it looks like there is a street view, so we're going to drag a little man. Let's see here. Actually click this little box here, and it will give us a street view. So this is another tool I utilize if it's an area that I'm not familiar with, and I have a co-navigator, or even if I don't now, I will. It's just great because it gives me an idea. Okay, so we're coming from this direction, and so it will give me, okay, so we're gonna come up, it's gonna be a left-hand turn for us to get up to this trail. So, all right, what I will do is I will screenshot this section here, and I will import, and then I will come over here into onX, and right there. I will come over here into onX and add the pin. So add waypoint, do left turn to access camp area. And the beauty of this is I can even go down here, turn left. Navigation pins are on onX. I generally keep them black. And then I would just add this to the Great Northwest Expedition. I would screenshot this, but I am screen recording right now, so I will come back later and I will add this to it. But then I would just add the photo to that, to this, just so I know. And you could add a couple. So generally what I will do, I'll save it for now. Usually what I will do is I will come back. Let's see, where's Google at? I'll come back. I would screenshot something from further away, screenshot it closer, and then I would actually come, excuse me. I would come up here and then get a screenshot of this whole area. Just gives a better idea, especially having multiple vehicles, especially also too, we're going to have, I want to say 5 to 6 vehicles with us. So this gives us a better idea, everyone in the group, what to look for in case for some reason we get separated or spread out. Gives a better idea on what to expect, and what to look for. So yeah, that's the primary thing that I use Google for. Some people use Google to look for camp spots, which you can totally do. It's an okay resource for that. My only hesitation with it is you can't verify if it is public or private land all the time. And so, I mean, you can go in and you can zoom into an area and see, okay, let's look here. Okay, there's that. There's a trail here, obviously. A trail here. Okay, maybe that's a camp spot. Maybe there's a road here that goes up. It goes up into here. And okay, maybe there's a camp spot right there. Maybe, but it doesn't really. At that point, you'd then have to go get the coordinates, copy and paste the coordinates into onX, and be like, oh yeah, no, never mind. This isn't a legitimate camp spot. I can't camp here. So, that's where onX comes in. So switching gears here over to onX, which we've already been kind of messing around with, and this is super cool too. Again, it gives you on the Elite version, which I have the onX Elite membership, it will even give you landowner information, so you will know for sure. And yeah, if you look up here, this was the area just north of where we were putzing around in, and you can see this is owned by corporation, by a ranch, I believe that's what it was. Yep, by the Coeur d'Alene River, or no, never mind. Yeah, it was owned by W&R Land Company. So you could not camp up here. But yeah, so that's the beauty of onX, is you can go in and it gives you that verification. So another super cool thing about onX, and something that we have been utilizing for this trip actually, is the trail reports and such. As ambassadors and as trail guides for onX, this is something that we actually contribute to as well. Let me zoom out here. So up here, so up just north of Taft Summit. So you see Taft Summit, this is a green trail. So this trail is actually mapped by a onX trail guide or ambassador, Mike W. And so he went and he ran this 18-mile stretch of trail, mapped it, and all that. So this is something that I've used for this trip actually, is because we want to get off pavement as much as we can once we've got some miles under our belt. And so our plan as of right now is to make it to either Idaho or Montana, and then get off pavement parallel 90 as often as we can, and then just do some exploring, do some camping, do some mapping and such as well. But so yeah, anyways, back on task here. Taft Summit. So this was a map trail, 18 miles long. Elevation goes up to 6,000 feet. The lowest point is 2,900 feet. He rated it easy with the 2 out of 10 rating. It took him about 2 hours to do the route. It's a point-to-point route. Best time to do it is in the summertime. Again, mapped by Mike W. It is accessible by truck, off-road vehicle, side-by-side, quad, dirt bike, and then the description. This is where it will be. This is where the trail guides shine, because especially a description like this, this is great. It gives you. It's a moderately frequented trail between Taft Road, Idaho, and Thompson Falls, Montana. Fantastic views, abundant wildlife. Official route. It gives you the official name of the route: Forest Development Road 7709. Great for huckleberry picking. Most of the route. Gravel trail surface is generally good, though rain and snow can cause slippery conditions. Route becomes mildly steep in some areas, which can be of concern, especially during winter travel. Limited dispersed camp spots. This is another important thing, is because some of these trails down here, I was looking to see what the reviews were. Hey, are there options for camping here? What is it like? So he right here says there are limited dispersed camping spots on the trail, though many offshoot trails offer other routes in the area. Switchbacks in Idaho have many shortcut trails of very conditioned difficulty. No restroom facilities on the route. Another good thing to know. Be sure to bury or pack out any waste or toilet paper. Fire has been prevalent in the area. 1910. Fires recent 2024, which, yep, there were fires out there last year when we drove through. Road construction on 90 can make access to the route difficult with detours. Cell service is spotty at best. Closest point for assistance is the Lookout Pass scare area to the west, on top of Lookout Pass. But again, and then he has pictures of what to expect. So you got power lines, you got the trails. Super cool views, it looks like. And yeah, a lot of switchbacks. But yeah, another great resource. But as trail guides and ambassadors, what we will do is, like you see down here, all these yellow. So if we really wanted to, we could go and map some of these. And then again, do similar trail reports to like this one down here. Let's not go into 3D mode. So yeah, in a nutshell, that's onX. As you can see here, I have, let me set this back to north. Perfect. I tend to color code my pins, so as you can see here, like I said, anything that is navigation related is black. So these are the meetup spots. And there's actually one here. Yeah, it's right there. You see, there's one there as well. But meetup spots are black, or navigation things are black. Gas or groceries are red. Blue, or excuse me, yellow is restrooms or showers. Blue is water. So it's either camp spots that are by water, it's potable water, and whatnot. I'll go back into here. Purple, I generally mark those as scenic, scenic or tourist attraction to stop at. HQ, that's onX headquarters. They're in Missoula. We're of course going to build that into the route. Stop by and say hi to them. And then we have all sorts of things along the way. So we are, that's onX in a nutshell. The other one, so I'm gonna go in here. I'm not going to give, because we have a super cool camp spot down in this area. I don't want, let's see here. I am going to, actually no, you know what? I'm gonna come up here because we may camp up in St. Regis the first night, and I will use this as an example since it's on iOverlander. So the next website up on our list is Campspotter.io. This is a newer resource that we started using within probably the last 6 months. One of our good friends, McKeel, he is the brains behind this website, and they actually just recently released a software update for it, I guess, or a new version, Campspotter V2, and it was awesome before, and now it is even better. It gives you so much data on what to expect when you're camping. So It will give you an overall camp score, campability score, like you see here. It will give you data on cloud cover, on rain, on precipitation, on the level, how level your camp spot is. You can now save, or it will now kind of save some of your recent inquiries that you've done. It'll give you same day. So like before, you couldn't do same day reports. So, for example, we were out in Eastern Washington earlier this year. The weather had started to change on us, and so we were trying to find a better camp spot with a higher score, higher campability score, and we couldn't for that day because Campspotter at the time didn't allow same day reports. So definitely would have come in handy back then. Super glad that they have it now. And you can also plan in the future. So this is something, like I was saying, before we can only go about 2 weeks out. Now we can go, I want to say it's, an entire year out. So I will actually today, I will go and I will import our camp spots from Montana into Campspotter and start to refresh those as we get, probably once a week, every week as we get closer to the trip, so that if I need to adjust it, I can. Yes, they have more reliable forecasting, multiple scores, so it'll give you the high score, the low score, and then it will average that to tell you where it will fluctuate between. It'll give you better weather information, better scoring, and again, these will adjust to as it gets closer to the trip. And then so much other. So so without further ado, let's jump over into Campspotter. In a second, let me sign in here. Okay, so my coordinates are already copied, so let's just go on out. Let's go. Let's see, that'll be July 8th and 9th tentatively. So those are the dates we're going, and I'm just going to paste the coordinates into here and assess the spot. And so it's thinking, it's doing its thing, it's running all the numbers and all of that. And boom. So it's loading. What? Why is this a 38? I'm assuming it's because it's not the exact coordinate. So let's take a look here. Why is it so? Historical weather patterns show predominantly clear and warm conditions with low humidity, making the area generally favorable for camping. Expect mostly dry weather with some cloud cover, moderate wind speeds. Occasional light rain has been recorded, but is rare. Okay, so it's basing, I'm assuming this is basing the 38 off of the occasional light rain, but is rare on that. I haven't camped at this exact spot, but I've camped just downriver from this, and in when did that was August. That was August, and it was hot, and it did not rain, and it wasn't cloudy, and it wasn't humid. So, but this is an example. It gives you the general. It gives you an initial and the general. That's probably why it's probably the slope. It gives you a general idea, long range, and because yes, this is the long range forecast. As this gets closer, as the date gets closer, this score will go up. But let's see, 42. Why is it 42? What is it giving me? 81. Yes, 81 clouds, 0 rain, cloud cover. Yeah, so these numbers will improve as it gets better, but especially, we're still about 40 days out or so from this trip. So this is long range historic models that it goes off of. As it gets closer, probably the 30-day mark, the 20-day mark, 15, and then so on, this score will go up. And then spot details, it just doesn't have much yet. But super cool resource because, as you can see here, so these blue dots that are floating, this is the wind. So wind will be coming from the southwest, and all that. Let me see, does it give anything? Detail score table, yeah. gives the table. And yeah, so these, it gives you the range. So the temperature will range from 65 all the way up to 93. It'll range from 60, humidity will be around 75%, give or take. Wind speeds up to 9.4 miles an hour, cloud cover 1 to 85%. So yeah, these statistics will improve as the forecasts solidify. But it just gives you a general idea. So yeah, that's Campspotter in a nutshell. A couple other things, since we're on Campspotter now, a couple other things. I'm not sure, let's see, is this updated yet? This is not updated yet. I believe he's going to work on getting this updated, but this was actually, it's funny because this was the dates of our Eastern Washington trip. And this is a super cool feature that it has. And I believe he's working on updating it right now so that it is more viable for the region. It's just the amount of data that it has to take into consideration. But super cool resource on here. This, during that trip, as you can see, you have all these caution signs, all these other shaded where, the camp spot, 36, 5, 44, 13. So we camped down in this area specifically because it was a 64. And actually, it was a great weekend. It was a great weekend. There was some great camping that was had. The only thing that varied was the last day was when the weather changed. But you know what? We made the most of it. Campspotter still came in clutch for us on this trip. So yeah, how it works. Yep, this is, and then pricing. So this is something too. If you're wanting to try Campspotter for yourself, they offer a free version. You're limited only, unfortunately, to 20 assessments. We utilize the pro membership here, and if that is something that gives you basically unlimited assessments, it gives you global access. Your first access to new features once they're rolled out of the beta testing phase, multi-spot comparison tool, historical weather data, advanced analysis, and then if there is something that you need tech support on or help with from Campspotter, gives you priority support on that. We do actually have a discount code for all of you that are watching. The discount code First Due Overland 2 gives you 2 months of the pro membership for free to try it out, which is great. We're getting ready to go into summer here, so try it out this summer. If you like it, hey, keep the membership, keep doing it, because this thing is Campspotter has been a huge game changer for us in planning our trips. We have had a lot more positive environments just because we're able to better prepare our trips, even if it's going to rain. All right, hey, it's going to rain. The campability of the spot is a 20 out of 100. It calls for wind and rain. Okay, we can either divert and go to a different area, or hey, you know what? We will buckle down. We'll bring our rain gear. We will make sure to tie our awnings down or close our awnings at night so it doesn't wake us up. And that's the beauty of this resource. It's a fantastic resource to utilize. So again, First Due Overland 2 gives you 2 months off of the pro membership. And so that is, though, in a nutshell, those are the 4 websites that we utilize. It has made planning a lot easier, and some people will ask, well, why don't you just wing it? And there are some weekends that we do. We'll just go out and we'll just say, we're going to go to this general area and just wing it. But as time goes on, and especially on these longer trips where we have a deadline, like for us, we have to be in Three Forks, Montana by Thursday morning. And so all of these tools help us utilize and maximize our time efficiently, so that way we're still able to get out. We're still able to go out and explore new areas. We're still able to go out and map. We're still able to go out and get content. And most importantly, we're still able to get out there and enjoy the journey, enjoy the trip, enjoy our time with our crew and the people that are with us. Because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about, is enjoying the time out there, enjoying the journey. And the last thing we want to do, especially in an area that we may or may not be familiar with, is we don't want to be scrounging for camp. We want to, yes, and that's why, you zoom in here to this area, just for example. Yes, right now we're planning on camping up in this area. However, say there's something in the way. Say there's an accident and 90s, the road is closed here. Okay. I still want other backup spots in the area, and so yes, we have a plan, but there's also contingencies in place for if something does happen. We have the off-road routes kind of already planned out. We have the fuel stops planned out too, and that's again another huge thing too, is with a variety of rigs, you have a variety of fuel economies. You have a variety of builds. My build with all of the weight that I have from the drawers and the tent and the gear may get better fuel economy than someone who only has a tent and a couple of totes of camping gear. Which actually I know it will, because I've already experienced that on some of our recent trips. So it's better to have those fuel stops mapped out, and especially for us, because we utilize certain gas stations. We want to make sure that we're getting the best bang for our buck out of gas. We want good gas, we want inexpensive gas, and as Costco members, we want cash back, or Kroger or Safeway, we want our fuel points. And so we build our routes around Costco's, Safeways, and Fred Meyers. It's just kind of how it goes. Yes, if there's not any of those three in the area, yes, we will, or I guess a Love's travel stop. If there's not any of those four in the area, we will still stop, but predominantly we like to build our stops around those, just because, again, amenities, whether it's cashback, fuel points, whatever it may be. And the same thing with restrooms. We want to make sure, okay, hey, you know what? God, I really go to the bathroom, but hey, you know what? We got this rest stop on 90 that's 10 miles away. You know what? I can hold it 10 miles. I don't need to pull off, and let's just push. And whatnot. And the same thing with scenic stops as well. And that is something I'm going to be building out today after this. I'm done filming this, is incorporating some of the scenic stops into here. Let's stop and let's experience for lack of a better term, let's experience the culture of this area. Let's learn some history about this. Let's see some cool things, and whatnot. So, yeah. With that, just a quick rundown again. iOverlander to scout camp spots or tourist attractions or resources in the area that you're not familiar with. Google Maps to get street views of turnouts, for turning off the road onto the trail. onX Offroad for your route planning, your tracking, your pins, all of that. Scouting camp spots via the satellite view. And then Campspotter to verify the campability, or what type of weather and all to expect on that trip. So with that, I am going to get back to some route planning, and because at this point the trip is right around the corner, and I am itching for some adventure. So with that, we will catch you in the next episode. Hopefully you guys learned something from this. If you have questions, drop them in the comments below. And also, if you have suggestions, if you have suggestions on how you utilize some of these apps for planning your trips and planning your adventures, throw them in the comments. If you haven't subscribed already, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Like I said, this is part 1 of our Great Northwest Expedition that we are putting on, and we will have many more videos to come in this series throughout the next couple weeks and months as we gear up for the trip, as we do the trip, and then we'll also do a debrief at the end of it. So with that, have a great rest of your day, and we will catch you in the next one. All right, bye guys.